Hello, now today we're having a quick look at two cars from one brand. These are the new Smarts. They've just landed in New Zealand. You get two models so far. They're simply named number 1 and number 3. They are small to medium SUVs. They've got a medium SUV coming called the number 5. Now, these are built in China under the auspices of the Geely Group. So, same company behind Volvo, Polestar, Geely itself, and a whole pile of other becoming premium EV and non-EV brands. So yeah, a really interesting couple of vehicles. Let's go take a closer look. So let's look at the Smart 1 first, because it's number 1. If we start at the front, we've got this really cute rounded front on it, smart badging. We have the bonnet there. There is a very small frunk there. We have some cladding down here that's kind of like a grille, a little bit of holes, but nothing dramatic. A camera there. You do have 360 cameras on this car. And if we come around, we have some pretty darn huge looking wheels for a small car. If we look, these are 19s and they are massive. Now they are aero covers on a wheel, but they're quite a statement piece as far as wheels go. Around here we have black mirrors that fold in and out as you go. Pop-out door handles. Everyone knows me on pop-out door handles. These ones actually work okay. Never a giant fan, but still not too bad. And this black roof, and it's a really unique design, quite a big arch to it. I don't know if it's supposed to echo the roof line of the original Smarts, but it certainly does look interesting. Roof rails, and you have a big sunroof on this one. As opposed to a glass roof, this is more of a inset-in sunroof, I think. If we come around the back, we have these lights. Now these lights are very Mercedes-Benz. They very much ape the other Mercedes-Benz electric product, the GLA, the EQA, the EQB, all the way up. They look very similar to this. Smart badging, the button to open the door is in the hole there. And around that side, we have the CCS2 charging port. Let's have a quick look inside. Right, so inside the Smart 1, and for that matter the Smart 3, they're very similar inside. You have this smart steering wheel with buttons there for the driver assistance, the stereos and so forth. We have this really substantial screen up here that has a bit of a bezel. Now, I actually don't mind a bezel on these screens, because what that means is you've got something to stabilize yourself on as you're using them. Now they've got some interesting graphics in here. The system itself works pretty well, does everything you kind of need once you've gotten used to finding where things are. And there's some cool details, like you push this little house here, this go home button, and it'll take you home. Where did that sit in there? So you're not going to find out where I exactly live. Similarly, you've got a little small screen up in front of you for your kind of key driving details. Now, nice big vents here. All really feels really nice and metallic and quality through there. A wireless phone charger here, USB-Cs, 2 of them. In the center console here, it does feel a little bit plastic. It's a bit more solid on the 1 than it is on the 3, but yeah, it's okay. Big tub down here, again a bit plasticky, but that's fine. And the seats are really comfortable. They're bigger than you expect for a small car. Electric adjustment in them as well. Yeah, overall pretty pleasant. I just do think some of the materials could be a smidge better considering the price point of this vehicle. Let's have a quick look in the back. Right, here comes the classic Richard test. Do I fit? And the answer is yes, and actually pretty well. There is so much head height in here, plenty even down the sides. It's a little bit tight with the seat set for me. The seat could go further forward, and if you don't have a giant driver sitting in front, you're probably fine. But for a small car, it's a pretty solid effort. Definitely not enough shoulder room for 3 adults. It's very much a 2 people across the back kind of vehicle. These seats do slide backwards and forwards for additional space or trading off some luggage. Nice to see air vents in the back, particularly with that lighting, and more USB-C ports. let's take the number one for a quick drive. I've spent some other time driving it, of course. This is just kind of a summary. But I've been really impressed. It feels a bigger car than it really is. The seats are super comfy. They're firm, but really accommodating. And the steering, I think the steering is just good. It's pretty much perfectly weighted. You can even adjust the weighting in the screen. But the ratio is nice and tight. You know, it reminds me, it does actually have a bit of the spirit of the Smart brand in it. It does feel like a car that is set up for nipping in and out of gaps in the city and getting in and out of car parks. But it handles okay as well. It's rear-wheel drive in this particular one, and it just has quite a nice little balance to it. I'm still getting used to the whole gear stick on there, even though pretty much every car has it these days. Yeah, the brakes feel nice and meaty. The ride is good. The road noise is a little strong. I do think that is a bit of a problem, though. I think part of that comes down to having, you know, relatively aggressive 19-inch tires on what is a little city vehicle. Perhaps on the lot, you know, something a little bit smaller, but more forgiving might be nice. But overall, I'm not going to argue, particularly when it can chuck U-turns like this. For a car with this much space, it is really maneuverable, but handles really nicely as well. But now I'm going to go and click my fingers and ask the little foxes in the infotainment system here to swap me in to the number 3. Right, and now we go to the number 3, and we're only going to touch on the things that are a bit different. It's very similar in the front, same badging, same front, same headlights. As we come around the side, we still have 19-inch wheels, but a very different design, and I think a little bit reminiscent of the wheels on a Maybach. If the Cameron's going to give me a little head shake or not to whether he agrees. Yeah, he agrees. Around here we have an additional Smart badge here, because we don't get that big Smart badge up on the D pillar, I guess. Same wing mirrors, same door handles, but this far more downward swooping roofline. This is kind of like an SUV coupe style. Now these cars are similar. They do share the same basic platform, battery, motors, all those kind of things. But this one is a bit longer in the wheelbase. I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen, and a bit longer overall. Means it gets about the same interior space, a bit more boot, but just that more lithe look to it. If we come around the back, again, we have these very Mercedes-Benz tail lights, and similarly the charging port over the side. Let's go have a look at the differences inside this number 3. Right, so inside the Smart 3, you'll see it is very similar. We have the same screen, the same setup with the little screen in front of here, same steering wheel. The only real difference is around here, where you have this kind of more sleek plastic patterned kind of finish. But my concern with this car, it's quite creaky, quite plastically. It's worse in the 3 than it is in the 1. But look, it still feels okay. It's just not perhaps as high quality feeling as I'd like for the price point. You do have these kind of sporty hint with these nice little round air vents there. Again, center console. And the seats, they're a bit different. They are a bit more sporty, but I think they're actually slightly more comfortable overall than the number 1. And I actually really like the little studs that you get in the seats. And in this car, and generally in the upper models, you get a Beats audio system. So if you're a bit of a bass head, then that is a nice little touch, and you can go and have matching Beats headphones to your matching Beats car. Let's have a look in the back. Now, can the number 3 pass our giant human test? Yes, absolutely. In fact, it feels even roomier in here than it does in the 2, and I think that's because it's more of a proper glass roof. It goes a lot more full width on the vehicle, giving you even more of that head/hat space. These bulkier front seats probably don't help, and I've got this one set very low, so my feet are squeezing under there, but they're still making it. But again, really nice little touches. I do like they have ambient lighting built into this trim in the back seat. You've still got things like a center cup hole with cup holders, sort of metal trim around there too. So yeah, again, it's not the biggest back seat in the world, but these aren't big cars. You remember this is a brand that for a big chunk of its life didn't even have a back seat. So the fact they've got quite reasonable, quite functional back seats in their small cars now is pretty impressive. number 3. And it does feel a little bit different than number 2. I think it's just got that little bit longer in the wheelbase, a little bit wider in the track. So it does just feel a little more stable on the road. Not that number 1 is bad. This just is just a little bit sharper, I think. The ride is a really good compromise as well. And I've driven this in all-wheel drive mode in the Brabus form and in rear-wheel drive in this form, and both have really impressed. They are, I would argue, almost driver's cars for this kind of vehicle. And that's no surprise. I've driven the Zeekr X, I've driven the EX30. They share this platform, and they're sharp driving cars as well. But I actually think this one might be my favorite when it comes to handling. And I don't think you need the all-wheel drive Brabus. I believe that this rear-wheel drive one is the pick, and it can slide. Now, some of that comes down to the fact it's got really nice, sharp, responsive steering wheel. Chuck a nice tight U-turn there. It is just a fun little car to throw around. Now, there's plenty of power on tap in all the models. I'll put the figures up there. Range is reasonable as well. You're definitely looking up towards 400 if you're careful. I think one of the advantages, someone says disadvantages, this car does have a NMC battery, so a little bit lighter than the LFP competitors out there, and that really does help with efficiency. At the end of the day, you can't get away from physics. Now, the driver assistance features are actually pretty good too. The lane keeping and lane tracing in this car are excellent, one of the least annoying I have tried. And the speed limit adaptive system and warning system, once you turn off the warning sounds, is really good too, to the point where I found myself using it. I very rarely use those systems on motorways in New Zealand. I find them a little too fidgety, a little too brutal. This one is actually pretty refined and works really well. So yeah, an overall really mature driving experience and a surprisingly fun little car. So the Smart 1 and 3, what do I think? I'm really impressed. These are two cool little cars. I think potentially the entry level, they're a little bit expensive, but some of the higher models, particularly the Brabus number 3, it's actually pretty good value for what is essentially an electric Mercedes in a pretty funky sports trim. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below for more great content.